Welcome. My name is Jason Strain with My Valley Online. I'm here with local businessman and community activist Jim Lineberger here in Weston Park in the center of Hemet's downtown. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you guys being here and let me be a part of our Rebuild Hemet. I'm Jim Lineberger. I'm the director of the Hemet Community Pantry, but I'm also the director and founder and president of La Mirada Christians in Action. And what I'd like to talk about tonight is we do have a problem here in the Valley. I love what's going on with this community, but I think we need to be educated and understand what we're dealing with and what we need to focus our priorities and our efforts on. Part of what I have an issue going on with this valley is categorizing the people here at Hemet at the Western Park as those doing the panhandling and the stealing and the littering and that kind of stuff. And I think our community needs to know the truth of what's going on. And that's what I'm here for as a concerned citizen, not just a director or a founder of an organization, but I'm here as, I just believe it's our human will or our human thing to come out here and help those in need, and that's what I want this valley to understand.
Now, Jim, tell us about some of the work that you do here in the valley and some of the work that you do with your outreach programs.
Well, since '89, I've been with La Mirada Christians in Action. I've been walking the streets of LA, Los Angeles, Skid Row, and back in '89, it was the third worst homeless population in the country and the first worst in terms of mental of the homeless. And we used to walk the streets, give food and pray and listen and talk and laugh. And you know, we had people chase us out of areas, so it's not always good. But we just need to understand that these are people. And I always hear the story that, well, they chose this lifestyle, and that is just far from the truth. People don't choose this, they're a victim of it. And it's not always the case that everyone here is going to get help and rehabilitated. A lot of them don't want it.
Well, there's a lot of things facing our communities at this time, especially with a decline in housing prices and a loss of jobs, and things are really tough for a lot of folks. And I know it's increasing our homeless population exponentially here just in the past few years. What are some of the things that these folks are facing on the streets, and how can we help?
Well, being the director of the pantry, our needs have increased by about 60%. And now what's happening is we're feeding homeless men, women, and children. And that's what the community needs to understand. It's not the individual man or woman, or it's not the drug addict or the alcoholic. These are families that are working, are trying to make a living, and they don't have the money. And people say, well, what's our solution? How are we going to combat this? I say, like anything else, we do it one day at a time, and we bless one life at a time. We try to save one life at a time, and we try to rehabilitate one life at a time, and do what we can.
Now, we're joined today by a couple gentlemen that came to you in the pantry recently. Why don't you tell us a little bit about these guys?
Well, I come to the park periodically to bring extra food that we have from the pantry, food that's still good, but maybe it's not going to last over the weekend. So I come and talk with these people, and I'm not here for a political agenda for my organizations or what, but I'm here just to let these people know there are others than me that care about them and understand them, and how do we help them. And they actually come to me and say, how do we get our story out? How do we let the people know that we're not what everyone seems to think we are? And the first thing came to my mind was you guys and My Valley Online.
Very good. Now, we know in talking with these guys just a little bit that there's some issues facing being homeless, and that they don't want to be here and want to leg up and want a job and want to be contributing members to the community, and also that just because they're homeless doesn't mean they can't be a part of rebuilding Hemet and can't be a part of making our community safer. What are some of the things you have to say to that as far as the community goes?
Well, being homeless is it's very difficult, but we are people all the same. Many of us have been born here in Hemet. We have children and grandchildren who live in Hemet, and we're Hemetites. I mean, just because we're homeless, does not mean that we don't care about the community and what's going on. And if we're called upon to help out in any way, we would gladly do it, because it's to our benefit also, not just to, just for personal gain. It's just to help the community.
Now, we spoke briefly off camera about the fact that you guys have been doing some recycling and do it almost every day, and that's a part of helping to clean up the community as well. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That is mainly how most of us actually get money for food. I have to say, truthfully, cigarettes and alcohol and other things. There's a very large contingency of addicts and alcoholics. That is one of the main reasons why we are homeless. I mean, it's an addiction problem. But then again, there are tens of thousands of people who have homes, who live at home, and they have alcohol and drug problems also. It's just we're homeless. We have no other place to do it. But, in back alleys, in abandoned houses or in the park.
Now, given the fact that you're on the streets and you're here every day, there's a lot that you see that goes on, and we wanted to talk a little bit about that. When you look at the parks and you look at things like this, these are not done by the homeless. These are done by the criminals. These are done by
Youngsters.
The young kids. And what are some of the things that you guys can possibly do to help out?
Well, we're constantly on watch here. I mean, we do sit around, we read, we play dominoes, we play cards. But we also, when things start to get out of hand, like if people start fighting, most of us stand up and we walk over and we see if we can, dissuade them from actually hitting each other. We watch out for each other's possessions. If we ever saw anybody, actually doing graffiti on these tables, we would come over and ask them to leave or tell them that we're going to call the cops. Any kind of defacement of, the property here, because this is a beautiful park and it's here for the enjoyment of the entire city, and we enjoy it quite a bit. We think of this as our city, just like other people think of Hemet and this park as their city and park. And, we're exactly the same. We just happen to be, a little bit disenfranchised. So
what are some of the things that we as a community can do to help the homeless population? And what are some of the things the city leaders can do to help?
Well, first of all, the harassment of homeless people would be nice if that would lessen or stop. Gosh, that's really a hard question.
Let me come in on this. They would like to go to city council meetings and just stand up and give their thing, but what he's afraid of is I'll get in there because they don't know I'm homeless, but how am I going to get out of there?
Right.
And that's part of why they came to me at the pantry. And I feel we all have a right to speak our minds, good or wrong or bad or whatever. So my thing is, as an individual, not as a director or anything else, is I'll go with them there, I'll let them speak, and I'll walk them out the doors. So he'd like to be a voice here. One thing that I believe in is if we supplied the paints and the brushes, I promise you that these guys would repaint these benches. So they're willing to take a step and do that because this is their home from 6 a.m. until dusk, 7 days a week.
And, maybe that could be a good way to make some extra money as well, and be able to, pay for some things. And that's it's a really good way for our citizens of every shape, color, and creed, and every social situation to be able to take pride and take a stand for what we all believe in as a great community.
What I'd like to see happen, and part of my purpose or whatever, is to understand we have a government and a welfare system, but that is not what's supposed to or who's supposed to take care of our people. I am calling out to the churches of this valley, Christians, Protestants, Mormons, Jews, whatever it is out there. And I'm calling on those that aren't churches to step up and say it is our religious duty, in my case Christian duty, but it's our religious duty and it's our duty as human beings to reach out to our fellow man. And if we all take a part in it and we all just give people a little bit of hope, or it's a matter of giving these people love. I want churches churches, it's their duty. We have 120 churches, I'm told, in this valley. There's 2 churches that come to this park to feed and worship, and one of them is out of this city, and that's disturbing to me. And I think it needs to change. So I'm willing to get with churches, to meet with churches, to come down here and, you know, maybe he's our first candidate to get a job, get out of the streets. Maybe he's our second, and maybe we do one at a time. And when we get them all, we won't get them all. It's impossible to help and save everybody. If you can save one life, isn't that what it's about?
That's where it all starts, and that's where this whole movement has really started. Is one person, one project at a time, and you know, maybe that's how we pull our entire community out of the problem it's in, and how we make a change. Is there anything you'd like to share with the people out there that are going to view this video? That any parting words that you'd like to give to them?
Yes. We greatly appreciate, and actually we we love the fact that at least several people, you know, several churches do come here. They feed us, they give us pep talks, they read from the Bible, and people like Jim who come here, they give us hope. They reassure us that, you know, we are people, we're not criminals, we're not bums. You know, we do care, and they care, and we start to care more about ourselves. It brings us up. And if more churches or more groups were to come and spend time with us, they would get to know us and who we are, and realize that we're not the ones robbing banks and beating up, you know, old people. I mean, you know, the elderly. We are here to just try to live until a door is open for us. And that's what we're hoping for, is just an open door where we can bring ourselves up.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us a little bit, and you know, hopefully this sheds a little light, and people can really start to understand what's going on here in the valley. And Jim, thank you for joining us, and thank you for the work that you've been doing, and will hopefully inspire others to take that step that you've taken.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. From My Valley Online, thank you for watching.